Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Turin here with another Warhammer Total War online commentary. In this battle, I'm going to be playing the Beastmen. Definitely a really fun, really strong faction in my opinion. I just finished playing about maybe 9-10 games as Beastmen or against them, and I would say they're a very strong faction with good mobility, pretty solid melee troops. As far as their range units go, I mean, I don't think they're the best, but they're just an all-around solid faction in my opinion. And again, this is just a first impression after playing about 10 games. So as far as my composition goes, I have this lovely Cygor here, which I really like as a siege unit. I like the fact that you can throw and then march, and they're very powerful in melee as well. They got the big hooves. They do some work for sure. And when not the most accurate per se, but when they do hit, they're extremely powerful. I've seen them decimate units, just absolutely decimate them. So I have one Cygor here. In my front line, I got some Ungor Spearman Herd. They're not the best, but again, this was actually my very first game I played as the Beastmen online. I hadn't even played the story mode or anything like that, so I just wanted to try them out and get a few units from kind of each of the different tiers. So I got these guys as fodder to absorb the front line. In the back, I got the Bestigor Herds, and they're definitely true to their name in that they are certainly one of the best that the Beastmen have to offer. Very strong unit, high damage, pretty mobile. I really like them. I like them a lot. In the back here, I have Ungor Raiders, and probably my favorite unit from the Beastmen is the Gore Bull. This guy is just awesome. My next few games, I actually got sometimes two or up to three per game, and they always do really well. Just definitely good to mix in with your infantry. They're fast, and just wait till you see their dive animation when they get to the enemy lines. It is so freaking cool. In the back here, I have a group of Minotaurs with shields. I really like Minotaurs. They're just fast, they're strong, powerful, just all around good units. And then as my leader, I have Malagor, the Dark Omen. He's got his sweet wings going on. He's got his big pimp cane. Skeleton strapped to the front of it, so it doesn't get much cooler than that. My opponent over here is playing Chaos. He has a front line up here of Chosen, a regular Chosen over here, Chosen with Halberds here. Then he has a line of, looks like Chaos Warriors with some Forsaken that he's probably going to use some for some flanking business. As far as his Knights go, he has a group of Chaos Knights and a group of Dragon Ogres. As far as his leadership goes, it looks like he's got a Chaos Sorcerer with Fire, which is very uncommon. So I think with all of the new ability augmentations and different things, people are experimenting a lot. So it's very fun time to play. So without further ado, let the games begin. So both of us, being relatively aggressive factions, are going to begin by advancing on one another. So again, I'm just moving up my troops with my fodder in front, followed up by the Bestigor Herds or Beastigor Herds, whatever you'd like to call them. I like to call them Bestigor Herds because they are most certainly the best. And then the Cygor here, he's walking with his loot right here, getting ready to throw. Pitch some rocks over there at the enemy forces, but it looks like my opponent is getting his Forsaken and Chaos Knights. Those Forsaken have very high speed. So again, if you're going to play more of a mobile style of Chaos, or you want to really do a blitz style, Forsaken are definitely a great unit. So again, I start by throwing some rocks, and he does have a pretty thin line. So again, this guy might not have the best depth perception, so he may not land all of these rocks here, but he sure is going to try. So let's see if we can get a hit here. This could be pretty cool, but he got one guy there. I don't know if that's even going to finish him. No, he's staying down. That's definitely a large boulder. So regardless, even if he doesn't do a ton of damage, he is going to do pretty well in melee. So I really like those guys. So he casts an AoE Laughing Fires. I forget what that ability is actually called because I never used Lord of Fire, but regardless, I scatter my units really quick to minimize the damage, and then I quickly reform my ranks here. So, and in the meantime, I see that he's trying some funny business over here, so I pull a group of Beastigor Herds, I got to figure out how to properly say that, as well as Minotaurs with shields over here, ready to deal with that charge. So he casts a nice little fireball, which gets through, does decent damage to the herd here, as well as my Gore Bull, but he gets back up, ready for action. So right now, we're just kind of forming up our front lines. My Ungor Raiders are getting ready to shoot. They have pretty short range. But again, I wanted to have some range, so if he did have a flying unit like this, I could at least do something about it. So at this point, I line up my Spearmen. They're going to take the brunt and just get absolutely devastated by these Chosen. So I just send them in here, and they're going to get mollywopped by these guys. So it is what it is. And then I bring in the heavy troops, the Enforcers right here, and they got some big old great axes, and they're going to lay some beat down here. And over here, He brought his Chaos Knights and Forsaken, so I'm ready. I'm just going to get in there and do my thing. So these guys are going to have a nice little collapse here, but these Minotaurs are just savage. They're going to absolutely handle those Chaos Knights in melee, so definitely very cool. As far as the front line goes, again, my fodder are still hanging in there, but these Bestigors are doing pretty well against these Chaos Warriors, and here I already kind of routed these guys here. This Gorbel got in here, and he just freaking is just clobbering people, so I'm definitely a fan. And with my Lord, I'm casting a multitude of spells. I'm using the, excuse me, I'm totally blanking on this right now, but not the Vile Swarm, but the ability that causes the opponents to turn against one another, and it has a leadership hit, so it's pretty strong. But again, this is my very, very first game with these guys, so I'm still learning the names of all the abilities, but he is definitely cool. I know the Beastmen have some pretty sweet unit augmentations, and what was I using? Devolve, that's the one that I really like. It does great damage, it has a really wide spread, it lowers leadership, it does decent AoE damage, so. And I don't believe it costs a lot of Winds of Magic. So again, these Minotaurs are getting in there with their horns and just doing great work. And there's the Vile Swarm right there. Not as good as you would think, but it's really cool. And these guys are shaking. And as I was saying earlier, this Cygor is getting in there with his hooves and just oh, that's so brutal. Just crushing people with that rock. So again, the Chaos Warriors, these Beastigor herds are just doing great in the front line. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below how you think the proper pronunciation is, but I'll just call them Beastigor herds is my pet name for them now. So again, this Gorbel, he's fully surrounded, but he doesn't care. He's just getting in here. He's got his Foe Seeker. So again, he's fast, very aggressive unit, and the herds are also quite fast. So Beastmen are very mobile. As far as this goes, this Cygor is having a rough time. These Dragon Ogres did get a nice surround, but he's trying to stomp him out, doing the best he can. But again, my ranged units here, the herd, I did have some routing units, but something I wanted to comment on is the Beastmen are kind of like Bretonnia in a way, in that a lot of their units will rout, but they always come back for more. So again, I really like this faction. I just feel like they're strong, and again, there's a lot of exploration to do in terms of itemization and augmentation of abilities and all that kind of fun stuff. But regardless, I do have this Zerg here, so this has kind of become my Beastman Zerg. So the Minotaurs are getting in there, and they're not going to play any games. They're definitely going to just get their horns all up in those guys. Although Chaos is not going down without a fight. He's got his Lord flying around up there. He did land, but he did not have a good time fighting the Beast Boys. So he's the Beast Boys. I like that. So he's flying around, casting the Flaming Skull of, is it Ruin or something like that? Again, I never use Lore of Fire, so mostly a Lore of Death kind of guy. But this new Lore of the Wild and all of that Beastmen faction specific stuff is really strong. So again, Chaos Warriors, they're trying, but these Dragon Ogres are going to quickly be beaten down by these Minotaurs. And this Cygor is still full health, and he's just stomping people out. So again, it's a fairly close battle. He still has a unit over here of Chosen. Again, Chosen are definitely one of the most, I don't know if they're cost-effective per se, but they're very, very strong. So again, I cast another Vile Swarm there, and now they're shaken. And if you want to look at the unit breakdown, I have 266 to his 205, so it's not terribly far apart. And he is sending his Chosen to chase off these ranking units that keep coming back. So having these Chosen in the fight over here definitely might have made a difference. But regardless, I am using the Mantle of Gorok, which is definitely a good ability. I like it a lot. So again, I have a lot to learn with the Beastmen. I got to learn the names of the abilities for you guys because I am not doing you justice. But quick breakdown, very first impression. Love the faction. They're mobile. They have pretty strong melee line. People are saying they have low armor. Again, I haven't played against an Empire faction who's using a lot of handgunners or any sort of composition that would really punish the low armor. But again, they went fisticuffs with those Chosen and Chaos Warriors and did really good. I mean, granted, these fodder just got crushed in that initial charge, but the Bestigor herds did really well. I mean, 88, 80, 73, 21, but Ungor Raiders not so good. Something I can reflect upon is that, honestly, I don't think you need to invest in those unless you're really desperate for some anti-air. I would just invest more in ground troops and perhaps some Centaurs if you want to do some Vanguard stuff. But regardless, the Cygor did just kind of got punished, but he looked really cool doing it. But the summoned Cygor, that Malagor summon, was very, very strong. He actually got quite a few kills, which aren't recorded here. And again, Minotaurs with shields, very good. And my later games, again, I got like 2 or 3 of those per game, and they just paid. They pay their dividends for sure. As far as his faction goes, the Chosen did quite well. Chaos Knights did okay, and the Dragon Ogres, I don't like Dragon Ogres. I think they're really expensive and not that strong. You know, honestly, I think a group of Minotaurs that cost, what, 400 less is quite a bit better than them. So, and again, Lore of Fire, I'm not a big fan of it. I think if he had Lore of Death, he could have caused a little more damage across my ranks with Fate of Buna, Spirit Leech on my Malagor, that type of thing. So, anyways, good game to NNCR Ranger. Look forward to seeing you again on Ladder, and thank you all for watching. Have a great night.